Hello, my name is Miguel. This is a video to showcase my drag and drop module for Kony. Um, you can use this preview code for Visualizer to see the sample app using the module on iOS and Android, both phones and tablets. I've tested it on Windows, but it doesn't work there. So let's have a look. So you're gonna see that there's a here you can see the blue background. That's a flex container, and then you have three other flex containers which are drop areas. The blue background is the drag area, or the area where you can actually drag objects in. But then drop areas are the areas where you can actually drop those draggables in. So if you have a look, you can see here that the fact that the blue background is a drag area just says that you can actually drag an object on top of it, right? But it doesn't mean you can actually drop the object within it. So you can actually only drop within the drop areas defined. So what you do is you call Cowabunga make draggable for the blue flex container, which is going to have to be like a top level parent container for your screen, and then you can have flex containers, which are your drop areas, and then you grab other flex containers and you call Cowabunga make draggable on them. And well, of course, to make drop areas, just grab a flex container and call cowabunga.make a drop area. So as you can see, I don't know if you noticed, but you can restrict the axis on which the draggable can actually be dragged. As you can see my finger here moving, it's moving on the y-axis as well as on x. But the draggable is only following my finger on X. And here, you can see my finger moving as well diagonally, but the draggable only follows my finger along the Y-axis. That's because the green draggable is, when you create it, you assign property, or you pass in a Boolean parameter that says whether it can be dragged along the Y-axis, and another one to say whether it can be dragged along the x-axis. For this one, I've passed in true for both, right? So you have complete free movement. Then you can also see, so the drop areas are the only areas where you can actually drop an object. If you can see, if I drag this on top of, outside of a drop area, it goes back to the last valid drop position. Likewise, it happens with the one that's restricted to be moved only along the y-axis, and it also happens for this one, right? Now you can see if I drag it on top of or exactly within a valid drop area, then it sticks. Also, you can see here at the bottom, there's a label where I'm printing out the events that occur with the draggables. You can see here when I drag the red square, it tells me the coordinates where I'm dragging it. That's because I've set a on drag callback so that you can actually capture the event of a drag and identify both the dragged object and the position of the dragged object. You can see that the label is actually telling me, here you can see it says green circle drag to 3265, and here you can see it says red rectangle drag to 262 and 221. So the idea behind that is that maybe you could do something like whenever you drag one of the particular objects, you can capture what object is being dragged. Maybe you also have a parameter that tells you what drop area you're flying over, so that maybe you could highlight the drop area that you're dragging the draggable on top of, right? And as a sort of a visual feedback for the user to know, this is a valid drop area for your object. Then, so this is as far as, oh, you can also see, you can also see that whenever you do drop an object into a valid drop area, it says, for instance, here it says pink rectangle dropped on drop area 3, right? And that's, for the purpose of, let's say you have a list of items that you can select from, and then you have a list of selected items, right? So whenever you drop an item onto the selected, let's say that this is the list of items that you can select from, right? And then the drop area 2 is the list for select items. You want to be able to know whether when you drag the red rectangle on top of it, you want to be able to know which object you have dragged and where you have dropped it. So this could be perhaps your shopping cart, or a Target account for a money transfer, that kind of functionality. So you have those two callbacks that you can leverage in order to know what's happening with the drag and drop functionality. Please avoid modifying the module. There's really no need for it, unless you want something like very, very complicated. I've added these two callbacks so that you won't have to modify the module in order to catch the events that are occurring with the UI. So this is an example where you have multiple drop areas, and because you have multiple drop areas, you're actually able to drag your draggables outside the original drop area they're in. But if you go to this other example with one single drop area, then it doesn't make sense that you would be able to drag your object outside of the drop area, because there's only one. So where are you going, right? Or if you try to drag it outside of this, where would you be going? So what I've done here is that whenever you have just a single drop area, you'll see you can't actually drag outside of that drop area, no matter how much you try. So I hope you find this interesting. Please let me know if you have any queries or suggestions. One thing that I do have on the roadmap, or my good buddy Paul Senkel has suggested I should, one thing that's not nice is that if I drag it over here, it should actually detect that my intention is to drop it on drop area 3 and not move back all the way back to drop area 1. So that's one thing I do have to improve on. I expect to be producing a new version of the module in the future. But if you have any other suggestions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to support you. Thank you for watching.